Yeah, she also just broke into the concert, but like
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's the least of their problems for that night.
Listen, for legal reasons, this is a joke. Our lawyers have advised us to mention that this is a joke. But if you can sneak into a concert, then do it.
Grab some popcorn and stick around. We've got some garbage to talk about.
Hi, Rogue.
Hey, Zax.
Hi, Karina.
Hey, Zach. Say Rogue.
Hi, Karina.
Well, we're continuing this month, and we're talking about Turning Red, the latest Disney movie to start quite a controversy in, like, the certain brand of reviewer category, I guess.
Oh my god. Okay, can I? Sorry
Oh my
to
gosh,
get
we're
us
off to a
track.
hot start.
Okay.
Very angry
Because you
already.
mentioned certain type of reviewers, I just remembered that someone, I'm not going to say this YouTuber's name because they already got a bunch of slack for it, but they were reviewing Turning Red, and one of their criticisms was that they didn't have any mention of 9/11 in the film.
Wait, what? Pardon?
Because they were like, the film takes place in 2001. There was no mention
May.
of 9/11. I'm like, bro, it's a Canadian film.
But also, it takes place in May.
Yeah,
the month is
9/11
May.
didn't happen yet.
What are you doing?
I'm like, the
sir?
bar
They
is
wanted them
in
to
hell
predict
for male
9/11.
reviewers.
Like,
The bar is in hell.
Were they just trying to be, like, edgy and funny, or was that like
No,
a
they meant it.
Why would you mean such a thing? Also, like, I love that. Like, 9/11 didn't happen. And, like, the
This is a
girl
bad
turning into
movie.
a red panda did, though. That
Yeah,
part.
this movie's unrealistic.
I was with you up until 9/11 didn't happen.
Oh my god.
Also, like, why do you want that to happen in this fantasy universe?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like.
May, turn on the TV, they hit the Pentagon.
Oh no.
Gosh. Oh my god. I think, like, I love that, like, then, like, Euphoria has Rue bored on 9/11. And then, like, everyone's like, this is what we needed. This is why it's real.
Oh my god.
Okay, so anyway. But, okay,
Off to
so
a good
first,
start.
let's, we're going to talk about a few things, not so much the movie itself. So just a quick summary of the movie. I think I'm the one who watched it the most recently.
Yes. It's all you, Zax.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, we like to pass the ball in here sometimes.
You have the talking stick today.
Okay, so May, she just turned 13. She's a young Asian girl in Toronto, and they make it very clear in the beginning she wants to please her parents. And that means she, like, overachieves, like, in her studies and everything like that, and she doesn't have a whole lot of time to hang out with her friends. But they're all best friends, and they all love her, even though she can't hang out all the time. And that...
We gotta go over who her friends are.
Right. So there's Miriam, who is clearly got, like, a little bit of the hots for May. Then Priya. What's the other friend's name?
Abby.
Abby. I thought Abby was so cute. She's very
too.
fun,
Abby.
and she was
She's
so
so
sweet.
intense.
Yeah, she's just really raring to go all the time. And then Priya's the cool one. Basically, yeah. And they're also obsessed with this band Four Town, and they really want to see them in concert, but tickets are $200. When she gets really stressed one day because her mom ruins her life at the convenience store.
Can I explain this scene? Because I watched it
Yeah,
with my mom and we were in stitches.
Okay, yeah, please
Okay,
go ahead.
so for our viewers who are older than 13, I want you to remember your first crush and expressing that crush, like, just in an artistic way. So maybe you, like, wrote their initials, or, like, you drew pictures of them, whatever. So this is basically what May does. She draws all these absolutely stunning anime photos of Devin, the guy who works at the Daisy Mart. That's not going to make sense to Americans.
It's like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah. He works at the Daisy Mart, And she's like, oh my god, Devin, oh my god. And she draws him shirtless and like as a mermaid, and it's really funny. And then her mom, Ming, comes in and she's like, I brought you some cut up fruit. What's going on? Oh no. And she finds all the sexy pictures that May has drawn of Devin.
Horrified,
and
absolutely horrified.
mortified. And it gets worse because she hops in her car because she's misinterpreting this situation. She's like, why are you drawing these sexy photos of this grown man? He's like 16. And May's like, no, it's not what you think, Mom. And Ming's like, oh, I have some words to say to this gentleman. And so she gets in her car and drives both of them to the Daisy Mart with the notebook that May has been drawing the sexy drawings in. Enters the Daisy Mart. Daisy Mart is at peak hours. There's like 15 little 13, 14-year-olds in there all trying to buy their potato chips. And she storms in and she throws the notebook down on the counter in front of Devin and all of May's classmates who are there. And she's like, what the hell is going on here? Meanwhile, May is watching all this happening and she's like, excuse me, I'd like to die now. Put me in the ground.
She's dying on the inside and the outside.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Devin's like, what the hell? What is going on here on this day? And then Ming goes, this Daisy Mart has lost a loyal customer. Let's go, May. And then they get in the car and then they drive home.
Are Daisy Marts like as like is it like there's like one for like if she's going to a different Daisy Mart, like is that necessarily guaranteed like a further drive, or is it just like she goes left instead of right?
There's kind of like a Daisy Mart everywhere, or like a corner store like a Daisy Mart pretty much everywhere in downtown Toronto.
Okay.
But maybe this was like the most like conveniently placed Daisy Mart. I had a Daisy Mart by my house a couple years ago.
That was living.
That was living. Iconic Daisy Mart.
I used to live down the street from a 7-Eleven.
That's nice.
How
That
convenient
wasn't supposed to be
store is so-
sarcastic. I don't know, like, that really was very nice.
There's just something so cozy about having a convenience store by your house, and you're like, I'm gonna go get an Arizona iced tea this evening.
Especially because I hate driving, so it was really nice having a place to walk to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get some steps in.
I used to have a little convenience store called Save-On, like right across from my house.
I remember that.
It's a Planet Fitness now.
Oh.
Very
Now
sad.
you can super get your steps in.
Yes.
Just hop on the elliptical for 20 minutes and you're good to go.
Okay, so like that's a big enough trigger. There's also like all this other pressure going on, but we'll talk a little bit more
Surface
about.
pressure?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to bring everything back to Encanto.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only movie that happened ever.
Encanto and Turning Red.
Yeah, that's it. But okay, so like that's obvious. Everyone's laughing at her. Like her mom basically accused this man of grooming her when all May did was think he was cute, and so like that's
Thought his
a
old
lot.
bucket hat was fun.
And so when she wakes up, she is a big little red panda.
Big Lil Red Panda.
Oh no.
And I think one thing I like about this movie is that like it's not a secret for very long.
Yeah.
Like, the
It's like 2 minutes of screen time. Everyone knows.
I think it's good because I love shenanigans. So I like that the mom like kept almost seeing her in the bathroom, and she was able to get out of the house without her mom knowing right away until then she did know. But like I'm glad like okay, here's some sneaking around. Like she's not going to tell anybody that she had her little panda period. But then like everybody knows, and we just move on from there. Mm-hmm. But then it turns out that this is actually something that just happens in her family. They explain their goddess who bless their family only.
Oh, important detail.
Yeah.
May's family kind of owns and runs like a temple in downtown Toronto, and it's it's a temple, but it's also like a tourist attraction, so that's where a lot of like their income comes from. And May spends a lot of her time after school working there, so she's like, you know, like handing out the pamphlets and sweeping and like all that stuff. And that's primarily why she's not able to hang out with her friends, because she's working really hard to like please her mom and be like, oh, like I'm such a good kid, look at me helping out around temple and doing all this stuff.
Yeah, she plays games with the other people who just hang out at the temple. Like, she's sweet, but, like, she's doing a lot. So, anyway, they find out, and her mom's like, okay, well, you just need to stay calm for a month, and then we'll do the spell at the next full moon, or eclipse, or a full moon.
Full
Isn't it-
moon, and this next upcoming full moon is going to be red, I think.
Yeah. I think it's
Okay.
during a red moon specifically.
Okay, red moon. Okay, because I was like, is that an eclipse, or what is happening there? But okay, so it has to be a red moon.
Car in the corner
So anyway.
for our eclipse video.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we got. I think new moon is when they're the most racist to Jacob. Eclipse is when they're the most boring.
Yeah.
And then
except
Breaking Dawn.
for we both know I'm hotter than you.
Oh my gosh, that was such a cheesy. You know, Stephanie Meyer was patting herself on the back so hard.
I did
like,
that.
you know, I'm hotter than you. It's like, I get it, because he's also like, his temperature is very warm, and
It's
it's
very
like,
hot and sexy.
okay, calm down, lady.
Stephanie.
I wonder who she thought was going to play him, because she was like, I wanted Henry Cavill to be Edward, and she doesn't like any people of color. So, like, watch, it was going to be like...
She's
I don't
like,
know, I can't really think
Daniel
of
Day-Lewis,
anybody.
you
Who do they
played
cast when
an
they want-
indigenous person back in the day. You could do it again.
Yes, there we go.
You're also too old for the part, but it's fine.
You're, like, everyone's too old for the part, but that was the original plan.
Yeah.
Ugh. Watch her, like,
All
watching
white
Last...
cast.
She's watching Last of the Mohicans, like, yep, this is good.
Write that down.
Oh my gosh. I remember my mom's friend came over one day to watch The Last of the Mohicans, and I felt like so bad because I was just like not interested at all. And like it looked like one of those movies like you're so like, you know, there's, especially when you're younger, there are movies that like adults make such a big fuss about, like
Yeah.
it's supposed to mean something to you or you're a bad person. I was like, look, I'm just gonna go watch some Degrassi in the other room. Goodbye.
Go watch Degrassi. This is high cinema.
There. Okay. But then, so she has to keep her cool, and she's with her friends, and then this is like where it's, so the love of her friends makes it a lot easier for her to keep the red panda in check, but then she has to lie to her mom and say that it's her love for her mom that keeps her panda in check. And then everybody, even when you would think they'd all be horrified that like there's a shapeshifter in school, they're all totally fine with it, and then they realize they can use that to make money. Which, like, I don't know what the metaphor... I was trying to think if there is, like, a metaphor with anything. Because, like, she's like, because in the end, the mom is like, you were exploiting my daughter. And, like, this isn't a game. And, like, if it wasn't a red panda, if it was just, like, her puberty... How were they exploiting? How was like the mother? Like, how would that be like translated into non-fantasy exploiting May?
You're causing my daughter to rebel and be her own person, and
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I agree with that.
Okay,
I agree with that.
because like,
Kate.
okay, because like the money. I guess like my problem is like I always like whenever I know there's like a metaphor, I have the problem of like making sure
Everything's
like.
a metaphor.
And I'm like, okay, but they're raising money. Is this like webcamming? Like, what is happening here? What is this? How are they making money off of her puberty?
I just
Okay.
I like to think that like if there was no red panda magic in this movie, it's just like May and her friends in her room, and it's like, come take pictures with me.
I have my period.
Yeah, I have my period. Oh, maybe they're selling period products.
Oh.
Because, like, the little boxes in the bathroom are never full.
Okay,
So
that's
they're just
actually-
like, I'm charging $5 for a maxi pad.
She starts wearing like a Hustler Kid jacket. It's just full of like different brands. Like,
I got tampons, I got Diva cups, I got pads.
you looking for Always or Kotex, baby? But okay, so then that's their plan. They're gonna sell panda photos and whatever else they need to earn money for Four Town, and they make it up. They have enough for the 3 tickets. There's this
They're
boy
$100
Tyler,
short.
and there's this boy Tyler who like is
A
he?
bitch.
But is the big reveal that like is he also gay for?
That's what I felt in my
But
heart.
I wasn't. Yeah, because like on one hand, like there's 2 ways to go. Like on one hand, like, I get it, not everything has to be gay, but, like, it could be.
But it could be.
anyway.
That's the brand of our whole channel.
Yeah,
Everything's
but
gay. It's June.
so, like, it doesn't have to be gay, but, like, it could be, should be. Then he's like, so he's always mean to May, and on one hand, and, like, I guess those groups, but mostly May, and I think, like, some people will be like, he's into May, but I think he resents May because she gets to just, like, geek out about Four Town and hang out with her friends, and he has to act, like, really cool, and, like, it has to be a secret that he likes Four Town, which I feel like is, like, being in the closet kind of a thing,
Tyler
but I also...
has fallen victim to toxic Toronto man's syndrome. And he's like, I can't like goofy, nerdy things because I'm a Toronto man's and I have to be cool at all times.
Yeah. So, like, so it's basically, like, it doesn't necessarily even have to be that, like, he is sexually attracted to the members of Four Town, more that he just could just really...
Thinks
It's a
they're
very
cool.
good song, but he can't because he'll be judged for it. Anyway, so then he's having
Has
a
to listen
birthday...
to Drake and only Drake. That's the rules.
2000?
Yeah. Drake was still on Degrassi at this point.
I think the show maybe just started. Maybe. I think it was actually
Tyler
2000.
was definitely watching Degrassi and saw Drake and he was like, he's going to be a big star one day.
Okay.
He
You called
saw it.
it.
He knew. Yeah. Okay. But then it turns out that he's having a birthday party. He's like, May, I'll give you however much you want. Just make an appearance. Everyone will go if you're there. She's also since like she's got like red hair now, which is just it really suits her. But like I don't know, I'm just kind of biased. I like red hair for everybody. Then what's it called? They go to then all of the women in her family and
The
this
Asian aunties pull up and they're all
And-
iconic.
Yes.
yeah, and it's like a whole thing, and they're like, okay, well, it's the red moon, so like gear up. But then they were going to go. She has to. A few things happen. Okay, so they're there on the night of Tyler's birthday party. So once again, May has to submit to her family's obligations, but she really wants to go to that party because her friends are counting on her. She's about to sneak
We
out
kind of forgot
when,
a detail. So
Yeah.
Fort Town is, remember this, Fort Town is coming to Toronto on May 15th. Keep that in mind. So Abby
Oh, yeah.
has told the friend group that Fort Town is coming on the 15th and May's ceremony is on the 24th or the 25th. Days don't super matter, but this is the information that we are given prior to certain events happening.
Yeah. So, thank you. So then it's the night. She's about to sneak out. She like retreats to bed, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's so great." But then Grandma comes in, and she's like, "I know what you're doing. I saw panda fur. You need to cut it out. You don't know what's at stake. We see she has a scar. It's implied it happened like with her mom, but they don't like clarify it. I mean, at least I think it's supposed to be implied at this
Also,
point because
the more they make it clear pretty early on, the more she shifts into the panda, the harder it's going to be to like seal it in the ceremony. And
Oh,
she
yeah,
keeps
yeah.
doing it. So that's why the grandma comes in and is like, you need to stop.
yeah. So then
have
she's
to
like,
suppress
okay. And, like, she takes it to heart because, like, the grandma isn't even really being, like, mean or cold. Like, I think maybe people might have been worried because she's really just, like, I mean, she's not, like, sugarcoating anything, but she's like, look, like, it's the same thing as, like, look, I know you just think it's cool to shoot up heroin once, but, like, don't. Like, it's that kind of,
That
I
kind
guess.
of talk.
Yeah. To the point, but, like, it's from a place of, like, love. But then she's like, okay, got it. And then she sneaks out and
Later, Grandma.
she uses the tourist costume.
Oh my God.
She uses the tourist costume that her, that she used to wear for the temple before she was actually a red panda.
It's
I guess
made
she's
out
still
of
been
Amazon
wearing it.
boxes and it's painted.
Yeah. And, very cute. But then she brings that to the party and everybody's like, boo, because
Loser.
that's not a real panda. You fake.
I paid
shape
$5 at the door for this. Lame.
One thing that I think is weird is, like, she totally could have just said, like, hey guys, like, I can't do it anymore. Like, they don't know the rules.
That's true.
But
But
she could have been like,
13, so like maybe that logic wasn't there.
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely don't think I would have, if I was May, I definitely wouldn't have thought of that. But, like, just
I don't think I
as a
would
lawyer,
even
I'm
thought of doing my little box costume.
you just show up in, like, a backpack.
Hey guys, I'm here.
But then,
Tyler's like, wow, you're a loser. And she's like, who are you calling a loser?
what was it?
And then, boom, I'm a panda. And then
Yeah.
the party gets absolutely bumping.
Although it is important to note that, like, she didn't really care that much about disappointing Tyler. It was
Yeah.
when her friends were sad, and then she was like, but I love you guys. Okay, fine, I'll be a red panda. And then, like,
And then it's the party of the century.
it was this is not how any 13-year-old
I want to know where Tyler's parents were at this time.
Weren't they at the house?
I don't, because they were at the house later.
Yeah.
So then they're just, May's like, job well done. They're doing a good deal. I think at this point, either way, it doesn't matter. But May's mom is aware that May ran away and she's headed over to the party to get her. May is like, oh yeah, awesome. We're going to get those 4-town tickets after all. Like, this, I guess, is just a different time because I guess you can't really buy the tickets online because I'm just like,
You could just show up
They-
to Skydome, get the tickets there, and you're good.
yeah, because I'm like, they sold out, surely.
Yeah.
No, like, what? But okay. But I guess it is 2000. I don't know. It was a different time back then. Then,
They're
right,
listening
then
to the radio.
Oh yeah, they're just like listening, they're vibing, they're just like taking a break on the roof, and then Tyler's like, May, this isn't what I paid you for. Get over here.
Well,
and
before,
then
before that happens, they're
yeah.
listening to the radio, and
right.
the guy on the radio is like, ooh, and that was 4-town. They'll be coming to Toronto May 24th. Oh no, Abby, you said they were coming on the 15th. And Abby's like, no, they look, it says right here, Toronto May 15th. And they're like, bestie, this says Tulsa. So Abby misread, which I relate to. She misread the days.
she
and was
saw
like, they're
the
coming.
letter T and was like, we're
Toronto,
good.
yeah.
We're straight.
So, 4-town will be in Tulsa on the 15th and Toronto on the 24th. The 24th is the same day as May's ceremony. This is not going to work out anymore.
Yeah, so right now, like, May is having a crisis. Like, everybody's disappointed and frustrated. And, like, then, although it is important to note that right before this happened, Miriam, who's, like, this is when I was
Fruity.
like, okay, Miriam, like, settle down a little. Your little, like, love there. But
Her
she's
little
like,
Tamagotchi moment.
because she's like, May, like, what if you just, like, didn't do the ritual? Because, like, this month you've been, like, rebelling against your parents and you've just been like really happy, and I think this is like a really good look for you, like also the red hair, but also just like you're just really feeling yourself like this, so I don't know if you should give up the red panda just like that. And then she's kind of thinking about it, but then like she's like, I can't, my parents would be like so mad or whatever, and you know, there's that. So then Tyler's like, hey, like, you don't get breaks. This is a party. I'm paying you.
I
Work.
hired you.
Yeah.
Yeah, mush.
I'm 13.
Yeah. And then she's like, I'm just taking a break. I'll be there. He's like, well, I'm not going to pay you if you don't. Anyway, it escalates. She goes fully violent and, like, is
Feral.
a panda. And I'm like, they don't really follow. I guess everyone just sort of moved on because, like, Tyler kind of sucks, so I think everyone was just kind of over it. But, like, because, like, everyone was, like, horrified, but, like, at the end of the movie, she's popular again. So, like, I
It
guess.
humbled him.
You know, he was like,
I don't know. I kind of feel like
this.
I like that though, because I mean, obviously it's an over the top example, but it's like, you know, we have our mood swings when we're on our periods. We might get angry for, you know, seemingly small reasons, but people just need to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fair too. I just think it's like, but like the reality of like this chick was literally like if a werewolf pounced on you, snarled at you, and like you just took pictures with this panda another day ago, and now it's like, oh, by the way, also still an animal. But I think it is good
Put that in your
everybody
Twilight
moved
fan fictions, folks.
Yeah. Then the mom arrives just in time to see her
this
daughter
nonsense going on.
somebody, which is also funny too because I'm like, kids are just like really aggressive, like they just are. So this is just kind of what happens. But Tyler's parents are making such a big fuss about it. They're like, your daughter attacked our son. You should be lucky we're not pressing charges. And it's like, look,
Don't they call her an animal?
They do.
I was like, damn.
I was like really uncomfortable because I was like, I get that like she literally was a red panda, but like this feels really racist right now. So
This
like
seems like lateral violence because this is a conversation between two Asian women. This is not good.
I was like, I don't like what's happening here. Somebody's bad. Then May's mom goes absolutely wild, mostly to Miriam, and is like, you like, I don't. Did we say this before the recording or not? But anyway, she goes absolutely wild on Miriam and her friends, and they're like, you're taking advantage of May, you're exploiting her, now she's sneaking out and attacking people, and that wasn't the case when she was just my daughter. Right, daughter? And then they look at May like, what? And then she's like, yeah, no, you're right, Mom, goodbye. And then they get into the car and drive away, and then they're like, because she just threw them under the bus. Mm-hmm. Then, fast forward to the day of the ceremony, Dad, who has been very silent this whole movie, he's had like
He's trying
3 lines. I think one thing
He's
that's
chefing
really
it up in the kitchen.
in the beginning of the movie, when she's like starting to be rebellious, the mom is like, she really rolled her eyes at me. Who does she think she is? And then the dad is about to answer, and she actually puts her hand over his mouth, like, no one was really asking you. And I was like, oh my god.
I love the dad. He's great. Oh my god, I feel bad. What's his name?
But then, I don't know either.
Let me look this up.
Yeah.
Sorry to this man.
Then later, but now it's the day of the festival. May's all sad. She doesn't have friends anymore. She's been lying to everybody. It's a whole thing. And then, her dad sees a video that she made while her and her friends were raising money for Ford Town, and they're just goofing around and having fun. And then he tells her, like, May, look, like, I think maybe it is gay. I think maybe it makes more sense, because it's like, because he can't really tell her to stop having her period. So I think it is more about, like, just embracing her gay self or something. Because he's like, look, like, I saw your mom's pandas once. It was really big. And, like, this video of you made me laugh. So, like, if you're not 1,000% sure you want to give up on this whole thing, then, like, I say, you know, be true to you. Be true to your school. And then she's, like, got a lot to think about. And then
Also, the dad's name is Jin. I just looked it up.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Daddy Jim.
We love Jin.
He, then they're doing the ceremony. It's working out. She doesn't really want to let it go. She doesn't go through with it. And then she rebels and she tells off her mom, and she's like, look, I can't be perfect for you. I'm not good enough for you. Da, 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 da. I'm going to Fort Town. And then we see this awesome, her flying free and running and shifting across the building. And it was really not safe for her, but like, she made it to the concert.
It was really cool.
Seeing a lot of beautiful Toronto cityscapes.
Yeah, she also just broke into the concert, but like
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's the least of their problems for that night.
Listen, for legal reasons, this is a joke. Our lawyers have advised us to mention that this is a joke. But if you can sneak into a concert, then do it.
I love the idea. Although, like, most of
Kind
the
of friends
concerts,
legal team.
most of the concerts I've been to have been for like the band I really like, but they're still like pretty small. So like, if I didn't pay, I would just be like a rude person.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking like $10, $20 venues. Like, you don't deserve to come. You're not going to for that. So like, be reasonable. But like, if it costs like $200 a ticket and like you're broke, then like,
Yeah.
you know. But for
Like, if
legal
it's general
reasons, that's a
admission,
joke.
then like, maybe. But if it's like a big amphitheater, then like, go for it.
Yeah. So then, she gets there, and her friends are like, "You iced us out. We're not gonna like just let you back into our hearts that easily." But well, Miriam saying this, and then it turns out that Miriam is still taking care of her Tamagotchi, which like I didn't really even have a Tamagotchi, but I understand how big a deal that is.
It really is.
Like that's
They
a
were so
commitment.
demanding.
So then, I don't know how anyone like went to school and took care of their Tamagotchi because it seems
well-
like they go off all the time.
You got it confiscated at school. That's how.
Yeah. Well, we know how it went for me bringing Tamagotchis to school. See the Tamagotchi incident. Everyone got lice.
Oh no! But okay,
No more Tamagotchis at school.
oh no! But then she's like, "Oh my god, you're still taking care of my Tamagotchi," and then Miriam's like, "Okay, fine, yeah, but like."
Because I'm gay and I love you.
Yeah, and so then they're like, but they're totally like, that's a thing there. And then they're like having fun, but now May's mom was freaking out because her daughter not only told her off, but embarrassed her in front of all the women in her family, which are like basically the only people that matter in her family.
Yeah.
So then, her comes out. She's like Red Pandazilla over here, and she's
Literally
just
ginormous.
She's stomping through, destroying things like crazy, and then she comes to the concert. The song was starting. Jordan Fisher sounded amazing, and then she breaks in and she's like, "Urgh, stop the music. May, I'm coming for you." And then it's like, that's still your mother. Like, and then they have a lot of stuff happens, but just to like sort of wrap this part up, they end up using the song "Nobody Like You." Everybody starts singing it, and like the aunties are still doing their like chanting and stuff, and it just makes this song like so epic. And then everybody's singing it, and then that's the music that they use to summon all of the women who and all their red pandas back to the forest,
Magic
the spirit
forest.
thing.
The spirit
and then,
world? Question mark?
yeah. And then May is there and she sees her mom, but her mom's a teenager again and she's crying and she's like, "I know it doesn't feel like it now, but like you're amazing. So just like you're beloved." And then they walk together and then they're
I love
just
how this is the most like heartwarming part of the movie, and we're like, yeah, and then she shows up
And like,
"Oh,
whatever.
you're loved. It'll get better. Move on, mom."
yeah, just
My
get
mom
over
and I
it.
watching this, we're like, oh my god, that's and like having a mother-daughter moment. Us retelling it, yeah, whatever.
Boo.
Boo, get over it, man.
So then
Take me back to Fort Town.
And then it was so weird because I thought what was so cute was how like kind of anticlimactic this whole thing was, because then everybody's like, wait, so May's just keeping her red panda? Like, what was all this? And then the girl was like, she wanted to. And it's like,
It's her choice. And they're like, that's fair.
at that point though, like, real talk, Grams, you let your daughter destroy that building.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we see at the end of the movie, they didn't just like magic that away. She is still very, very much in debt.
They have to fundraise to fix the sky dome.
Like, they're not making any money anymore, it
The
seems
city
like.
of Toronto has billions worth in damages that they cannot pay off. So they're like, you, Ming Lee, you have to pay this off because you destroyed it. And she's like, hee, sure
They
thing.
made that thing. It's like all the way in the millions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, May. Like, I don't know. You guys need to figure something else out because
I think
this
that
is not...
it is very funny though that they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for damages, and she's like, yeah, I got this. No worries. I'd love to see the civil court case.
I mean, because even though the people started rallying around to sing afterwards, they still had to like hide under chairs, and she was taking up so much
Yeah, they're
room.
still cowering in fear.
At least 2 people broke an arm, and that's being so generous, like ridiculous.
Fourtown has so much therapy that they had to cancel the rest of their tour.
And they're like, I mean, honestly, though, this probably was great for them. Like, what was the news story even like? Like,
They took pictures
Fourtown-
with them afterwards, so like they were fine with it.
Yeah, they were cool. They were like, oh, you'd be surprised how often we get in the middle of some coming of age curse.
And like this was probably great for like the temple business because like their little side thing of like funding to repair the Sky Dome. I got the vibe that this is just like, oh, donate to help us. But then like their business is still like thriving because everybody wants to come and see the colossal panda.
That's true too. But then, and then basically that's the movie. You know, they fix it. May gets to be true to herself.
She has
and her
more
mom's
freedom.
happy
She can
for
go hang out
it.
with her friends.
Everyone's
And
great.
then like,
Yeah.
her and her mom look back. Oh, also Tyler was at the concert and he really likes Fourtown too.
Yeah. I
that's
still don't
cool.
like Tyler though, but that's that.
I mean, he's awful, but
Toronto
like,
mans.
he's going through his own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
that
going
was-
through his own coming of age thing.
Yeah.
That was turning red, but now let's talk about the gay stuff. So Karina, hit us with that queer coding.
Okay. So I think by now we kind of know what like queer baiting and queer coding is. But just to kind of summarize, so queer coding is in like any type of media assigning a character traits that are like a little bit gay, and not overtly saying that they're gay. So examples of this, back in the day, you weren't really allowed to like portray, like you weren't really allowed to have gay characters unless you made them the villain and you made it sneaky. So that's why a lot of older Disney villains are very like flamboyant and like you look back at them now and you're like, are they gay? I'm explaining this great. And then
You're
queer
doing good.
baiting. Queer
Yeah.
baiting is, I'm going to use the example of Riverdale season 1 when the show was being like promoted and they're like, ooh, Riverdale, it's about Archie comics, that's great. They had a scene where Betty and Veronica kissed and the internet absolutely lost its mind. They're like, oh my god, are they going to be gay in this show? Oh my god, yes, I love that. And then come to find out, no, these are not two gay women kissing. This was literally like just a scene where they kissed and then it was never addressed ever again and it wasn't a significant part of their character development. But this was used to like attract viewers and like stir up talk about the series before it started. So,
Or
yeah, go
here's
ahead.
a real world example. Who's it? Shane Dawson's sister?
Morgan? No.
Yeah.
What's his husband's name?
Rylan.
Rylan and
Yeah.
Is it Shane
Ryland's
Dawson's sister? Rylan's sister. Yes. Okay.
Rylan's
Sister-in-law. She got smacked by queer baiting backlash because she released a video with the title "Am I a Lesbian?" and made a really super long video, like 20 minutes, and basically at the end was just like, no. So that's like queer baiting, where it's like
yeah,
trying to attract queer audiences, but not actually
And not
providing
delivering on
queer
it.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the only thing I would add to that is like I think it was totally queer baiting, but I want like her reasoning on it, which is why it's kind of maybe a like benefit of the doubt or whatever. Her reasoning was like everyone always just assumes she's a lesbian, so
Yeah,
that's
but
why the whole video
that's-
was her interviewing people to ask them like, so do you think I'm a lesbian? And most of them were like, yeah, actually I do. And she was
But then, like, it's this whole thing where it's like, oh, I'm gonna keep you on your toes. Like,
Yeah.
am I gonna come out in this video? And then it's like, haha, no. Like, it's
That's
clickbaiting.
fine. Yeah, exactly. That's fine. But
Yeah.
like, say it up front. Be like, I'm not a lesbian, and then
Yeah.
do all of your interviews. Like, did you think I was a lesbian? You know, it's like
yeah,
It's
Yeah,
just
no.
disingenuous.
Like, honestly, I feel like that's the kind of thing that's frustrating too, because I think literally if she just titled it "Why Everyone Seems to Think I'm a Lesbian,"
Right.
This
then
whole
you're not
thing could have
queer.
been avoided.
And I'm sure people still would have watched that video because, like,
It's like, oh, I've heard this discussion. Let me tune in on it instead of like, oh, are you coming out? Oh, were the rumors true? Oh, no, you're just banking on queer audiences. Okay.
Yeah, and then just one more addendum to that. Like, I think, because I can see some people arguing, like, well, look, like, she just made the title of the video. She really wasn't thinking about it all that much. Like, I'm sorry, miss, that's your job.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, people always talk about, like, I do think being an influencer and making content, I think it is, like, it's a job. Like, people pay you to do it. But, like, you're advertising yourself, so you need to, like, there's responsibility there to just put thought into your things. I don't know.
And also,
that's
like,
not
I'm sorry,
crazy.
but, like, if you're a content creator, no matter how big your channel is, you're thinking of how to title your video. You're not just like, I don't know, just throw this title on it. Like, it's like anything that you work on, that you create, you're putting conscious thought into it.
Yeah, like, no matter, like, if you want, especially when you get to a certain viewer count, like, you know what attracts people and what doesn't. So,
Yeah.
like, that's the bare minimum. Okay.
It's a business. So, so to get back onto like queer baiting and queer coding, things like that, you might be like, well, how come that's an issue? A major part of why that is an issue is queerness is being used by these like forms of media as a means of getting viewership and getting attention and all of this, whereas genuine queer stories, like content that is made by LGBTQ plus people, is put out and it's not given the same attention, or it's talked about poorly, or it's ignored altogether. So it's this issue of authenticity that I think a lot of people have. I know it's an issue that I have. I get really frustrated. Like, one thing I get very frustrated with is when straight actors play gay characters. James Corden is very guilty of this. The only exception I will give this is Stanley Tucci. He's the only exception to this rule that I have set for myself. But it's like, it's again this thing about, like, you're not being authentic about it, and you're using a lot of, like, stereotypes with, like, this portrayal, which is a bit another issue.
I guess it depends. So, because I understand what you're talking about, but I just don't think I have an issue with it, just because I feel like there's a lot of gay actors that play straight roles also.
I have a problem with that too, though.
But I guess that's not, like, my problem. Maybe I'm in the middle. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think I'm kind of in the middle where, on one hand, people always talk about, like, male practitioners always play straight parts, but it's like, how many gay parts are there to play? So it's like...
Make
so
more gay characters.
Yeah,
and give
exactly.
More gay
Just-
actors
they're-
roles.
Yeah. So
There
it's
would
like...
be.
So, like, if they're... I think it's weird, too, because, like, a lot... And I think it's weird, too, because I feel like they know... And, like, a lot of times when they don't... like, when gay people were not involved in the making of this gay character... That's why they hire a straight person, I feel like, because I think I feel
The
like...
gay actor's gonna be like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, although, like, I mean, like, a role is a role, so I can see... And I don't think that's even bad. I could see maybe a gay actor, like, doing it or whatever, putting, like, some, like, their own flavor in it, but then they would be like, hey, like, you need to act sassier or something like that. Like, so that's the thing. I feel like, I guess, I don't know, it's such a... I'm so torn and go back and forth on this whole thing. Because on one hand, I get when people are like, any actor should be able to play any role. And it's like, okay, but, like, only cis white people are hired to do anything.
Right.
So, like, that's why people make a fuss. Like, if any time there was a movie, and you would just... If, like, people didn't send rude death threats for being black in the Hunger Games, if that wasn't what happened, even though she was, like, very clearly black in the book.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't even know if I'm, like, really that cool with how she was black in the book. Because, like, it was based... Like, they were literally, like, district... What was she from? District...
The slavery district.
Well, yeah, like they were literally picking cotton in her district and singing like slave songs.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not even that cool with the fact that she had to be black in the book, but she was black.
She was a black character. It would be stupid and dumb and bad to whitewash her.
It's, oh my gosh, it's, golly gee, that's a whole, I remember like, that was like one of the times where I was like starting to like be invested in internet drama like as it was happening, and I was so confused. But anyway,
Yeah.
so back to this. So like, yeah, so representation is like an issue, but that, so like what we're talking about here is like this corporate wokeness, and like I think it's more blatant with Disney because they own everybody now.
They own a
So-
third of the entertainment industry.
Oh my! It's so
And
it's
Disney,
like
Disney tries its very hardest to be marketable to everybody, and in this instance, that's a problem because in order to market to everybody, you need to sometimes bend to bigoted policies and bigoted ideas so you don't offend them because
So-
they're part of your biggest monetary contributions.
So before you go into, I know you're going to reference an article, read a little bit from an article from actual Pixar staff about this, right? Before you go into it, I want to talk about what I've heard about why Disney and other big companies like DreamWorks and stuff can't have explicitly gay characters, or sorry, can't in big air quotes have explicitly gay characters in their movies. And I want to see if it lines up with your research. So what I've heard is that there's a huge animation, like market for animated movies in China. And since China has a lot of censorship laws, especially around things like queer characters, or queer people in general, governmentally, I want to say, like, that's their government. I don't want to say anything about
when we talk about censorship in countries, we are not talking about people from these countries or people who are of this ethnicity or background. It is strictly from a governmental standpoint.
Yes. So since the market there is so huge, these big like animation companies generally just follow whatever the trends there are, or if there has to be censorship, they're like, well, we can't include that because it's not going to play well in China, because there's not going to be a way to censor it. So I've heard that with a bunch of Disney movies actually, and then also like even DreamWorks, that's the whole reason like Kung Fu Panda 3 happened, is because it was like huge in China. So I don't know. I just want to see if that lines up with like some of the things that you read.
Yeah, pretty much. That's also like that's kind of what I was getting. What I
Okay,
was
cool.
talking about. So yeah.
other
Oh, you go first.
the other thing, just to add to this, because I don't know if they'll talk about it in this article, but like the biggies that like I've heard people talk about is like how, I think you're going to get into more specifically what they did with like Turning Red, but also like going back, the first time I noticed this was when everybody was going off, and like at this time I was like talking with like a lot of homophobic people, and like LeFou and Beauty and the Beast was in love with Gaston, but it was very easy to cut out these scenes where any queerness was going on. Also, I was just so annoyed because I was like, what even is this resolution? Like, LeFou is clearly in love with a crazy person. And then like that's tragic because like Luke Evans or whatever, he is like a snack and a half, but like LeFou, you can do so much better. You're Josh Gad, you're like Olaf, but then he's
You like warm hugs.
and then he just gets with this guy who was like, oh wow, like I didn't
You're
mind
here.
cross-dressing once. And then I was like, you can't pair the spares the one gay?
Yeah.
Like, big question mark there. And then it was easily cut out. And then I was watching Your Movie Sucks, his Lion King Part 1 video, which, oh my god, like, it was so cathartic for me because I was like, yes, these are all the things I was really mad about.
Okay,
But,
well,
like,
I liked The Lion King, so now I feel like I have to go watch it.
You should, because I've been wanting to explain my issues with the Lion King movie for a while, but I don't want to be too mean because
3 days later.
okay, back to this. So yeah, so like Beauty and the Beast, they did it, and we'll talk about Turner Red how they did it, and like I think they also like Owl House is a TV show, so I'm assuming they were just like, we don't have to like translate it for any of the places where it's banned or something. But like they also like cut it much shorter than it was supposed to be. Like there was like a whole arc plan, and then it went season 1, season 2, season 3 will just be 3 40-minute specials.
Oh.
So they were just like, it got too gay too fast. I don't know.
I feel because, like they do have a lot more freedom with their animated shows.
Mm-hmm. And like Luz is like pretty sure like the first like bi character, and like they make it clear she's like, I mean, but like as clear as you can make it for a 14-year-old who's bi. She just blushes at boys and girls. But like
even like I'm thinking about DreamWorks animated shows. They like they don't care. They throw in queer characters. I mean, there's a scene, spoilers, I guess, I don't know, in Three Below, which is a Guillermo del Toro project in the Troll Hunters universe. Great show, love it. There's like a scene where 2 girls kiss like on screen. So yeah, I think they just have more freedom with animated shows than movies, probably because they're not as big of money makers.
Yeah, I get that would make sense.
But I don't know if Karina, do you want to talk about the article that you have?
Yeah. Okay, so before I get into that, so we were talking about like as we were summarizing the film, we're like there's moments that are like a little fruity. There were supposed to be more and like more overt. Like there's a moment like at Tyler's birthday party where Priya they're doing like charades or something like that, and there is a character that the internet is just calling goth girlfriend. So there's a character and there's an interaction between her and Priya. And what an icon she so she and Priya like look at each other, and Priya's like and like has a little smile, which is the most Priya has emoted in the entire movie. Priya's whole thing is like she's very like
aloof,
non-emotive, yeah, because she's cool, but like she smiles and we're like, oh, that's a little fruity. And then there's a moment where like they dance together for a little bit, but like there was supposed to be more like, oh, they're girlfriends now. Like these are 2 girls that like each other. And the thing with May and Miriam, like that was supposed to be played up a little bit more. But a lot of that got cut out because Disney stuck its grubby little hand into the script and into the project and went, this is getting a little too gay for us. We can't make this marketable in homophobic countries. And this happens with a lot of Disney and Pixar projects, because they can't market them to homophobic countries. So, a letter went out, and a full statement went out, by, like queer Pixar employees and, their allies. And, I'll just read out some of it. Okay. Yeah. So this will be contextualized. Okay. We are writing because we are disappointed, hurt, afraid, and angry. In regards to Disney's financial involvement with legislators behind the Don't Say Gay bill, we hoped that our company would show up for us, but they didn't. Monday's email, our unwavering commitment to the LGBTQ+ community, rang hollow. It began with the claim that Disney has a long history of supporting the LGBT community, but Disney parks did not officially host Pride until 2019 in Paris alone. Disney has a history of shutting down fan-created Pride events at the parks, even removing same-sex couples from dancing together in the 1980s. Context for that. So there's a Defunct Land episode like on like Club Disney and stuff like that, but basically back in the 80s, I can't remember what part of the park it was, but like the nightlife adult section of the Disney parks, they had dance clubs that you can go to. And there was a big court case about this where two gay men went to this club and were dancing together, and they were asked to leave because that wasn't allowed. Like, it was in their policy that same-sex groups could not dance together. And so that became a big thing. And I think they settled on, like, same-sex fast dancing is okay, but same-sex slow dancing isn't, which is so dumb. And, like...
So you can grind all you want.
Yeah, as long as it's a fast song. And again, like, there's... Defunctland explains it a bit better, but that's just, like, the meat and potatoes of it. So to get back on track with the letter. Additionally, Disney began capitalizing on Pride in 2018 with the Rainbow Mickey collection, while de-emphasizing terms like LGBTQ+, and not even featuring explicitly LGBTQ+ pieces such as Pride flag pins in 2021. To this end, it feels terrible to be part of a company that makes money from Pride merch when it chooses to step back in times of our greatest need when our rights are at risk. The second claim stated that the corporate statements do very little to change outcomes or minds. However, in the very email making this claim, it opened with a corporate statement regarding the ongoing situation in Ukraine. 8 days after Russia invaded Ukraine, Disney paused the release of theatrical films in Russia and announced, "We will make future business decisions based on the evolving situation." Following the siege on the Capitol in 2021, Disney stopped all political donations to members of Congress who had objected to the presidential election result. In 2016, Disney told the state of Georgia, "We will plan to take our business elsewhere should any legislation allowing discriminatory practices be signed into state law," in response to the controversial Religious Liberty Bill. By taking a stand, Disney directly affected the legislative outcome in Georgia. This has been proven that Disney's corporate statements can and do make a difference. And again, I think we just mentioned it. Disney owns a third of the entertainment business. Disney is gargantuan. Disney has such a huge pull on kind of anything that happens in terms of, like, media and, like, government, apparently. So Disney being like, oh, well, our policies don't really, like, do anything to change minds is straight up bull.
Yeah, and they know it too.
Yeah.
I think, two things. One, I think we should title this video "Disney Won't Say Gay, Scat / Turning Red."
Yeah.
Or vertical
Yeah.
bar turning red. Okay. Two, glad we got that sorted. But then also, I was thinking about, like, you know, because we're talking about how, like, Disney totally could, like, make some money moves and change things and make them better for gay people. I don't know if any of you guys watched the limited series Hollywood. It's pretty crazy and wild, but I do like it at its heart because, like, well, spoiler warning, like, go watch Hollywood. It's like 6 episodes and it's very, very interesting. But basically, it's like a fantasy version of Hollywood in the 1940s where they make this movie starring a black woman written by a gay man openly. And it's just saying, like they do get, like, some hate or whatever, but they're like, Hollywood could just make whatever movie they want, and if it's good, people will just like it. And, like, so they could just have, they were like, imagine what the world would have been like if they would have just, like, made this movie back then. And it's just, like, this whole, like, what if dream. And it's like, I mean, I don't think you're supposed to take it as that at first until, like, the end where I was like, oh, okay, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, thinking, like, Disney has, like, so many properties. Like, they could just do whatever they want. Like, ultimately, like, people still like movies. I don't know. Would they really just, like, not want any Disney movie at all?
Like,
if it was...
Other than their own decision making, Disney has no reason to not make films about queer characters. They have no reasoning to be like, oh, well, like, we don't know. Like, no, it's just because you are making the conscious decision to do business with people who hate queer folks, and that is your priority. Your priority is making money. Your priority is being marketable. You have no commitment to caring about this community. Point blank, period.
It's really interesting too, though, because they hire a diverse group of people. It's not like they're not hiring queer people.
Yeah. Oh, well,
but then they actively make actively fund projects that they won't allow to be queer.
Well, the next point in this, finally, we come to push for content as the answer. We at Pixar have personally witnessed beautiful stories full of diverse characters come back from Disney corporate reviews shaved down to crumbs of what they once were. Nearly every moment of overtly gay affection is cut at Disney's behest, regardless of when there was protest from both the creative teams and executive leadership at Pixar. Even if creating LGBTQ plus content was the answer to fixing the discriminatory legislation in the world, we are being barred from creating it. Beyond the inspiring content we aren't even allowed to create, we require action. So there are lots of queer folks at Disney, at Pixar, who want to tell stories about themselves and about people like them, and they're not being allowed to outside of this tiny window where it's like, oh, this is so uplifting. Oh, it's June. Make this content. Oh, it's July. Fuck you.
Yes.
Like, they're not allowed to do that because it's not marketable.
Like, it's so sad, too, because, like, I don't know. You guys have Disney Plus. Have you watched Diary of a Future President?
I have not.
Okay. Well, it is, like, it's on its second season. Like, I don't know. I think it comes out every summer, so maybe season 3 is coming out soon. I don't know how the pandemic affected that or not. Regardless, I don't really even care about the future president, just being honest. Like, she's just in middle school and she's dealing with, like, nonsense that, like,
Middle
a 12-year-old
deal with.
Like, go off, you're gonna be president one day, you're beautiful, wonderful. You'll grow up to be Gina Rodriguez, and that's awesome for you. But her brother Bobby is going through, like, this whole gay thing, and I'm like, oh my god, this is, like, has me at the edge of my seat because I am, like, living with him. He's, like, although it's, like, nice because he's, like, in a really, like, accepting family and everyone's, like, cool with it, but he's also, like, I don't really know, like, I just, like, had a girlfriend, didn't really feel anything for her. I have this big crush on my best friend, but, like, he's very much not straight. But then, I don't want to spoil it, but, like, then the best friend finds out, and, like, I don't know what's happening for season 3, but, like, baby gay kiss? And, like, I just think that Disney's missing out by not doing more of that, is my point.
So, for some reason, that reminded me of great gay representation in media. And this is, like, I guess, like, an adult cartoon, which, like, I don't want to downplay because I think it's even adult content.
Not like spicy
yeah,
adult content, but content made with adults as the target audience.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Karina. As soon as I said that, I was like, wait, hold on.
Like, we're not talking about corn. We're talking about, like, BoJack Horseman type of content.
So, the show The Great North, from the creators of Bob's Burgers, has really good gay
Bob's
representation. One of the characters, it takes place in Alaska, which already, that's like, okay, well, it might not be great. But one of the characters in the family is gay, and in, like, one of the very first few episodes, he's like, that's it, I'm just gonna come out and say it, I'm gay. And his family is like, yeah, we know, you've been out for like a year, what are you doing? And it's just so wholesome and nice, and he's just like a character. It's not like a big deal that comes up every episode where it's like, oh, we have to talk about this now. It's just like a character, like a straight character would be.
Yeah.
So that's awesome representation. Good job, those people. Watch it on Hulu.
Yeah.
I wish we had more of that in children's content. You know?
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, you go first, Max.
oh, no, I was just going to say that's just why, like, when I first started watching The Owl House, I was just like, ooh, like, witches, I just, like, think that's cool and cute. But then, like, the gayer it got, the more I was just like, oh my gosh, I wish I had this show when I was a kid. I would have lost my mind.
Yeah.
It is so, like, and she's just so great. Although maybe some people have a problem because she's Hispanic. I don't know.
What?
But, like,
We don't like those people.
Sorry.
I don't know. I'm just, like, turning Reddit and Kanto have taught me that people don't like leads
people
that are
are
girls
racist.
and not white. So, like,
Okay,
maybe
wait,
it
hold
wouldn't
on.
have
So this
worked.
is a good segue, I think. I really wanted to talk about in this video too, which kind of it goes into queer, like, content with queer characters. A lot of people get hurt when they're told this wasn't made for you, or like this movie isn't for you. And I want to explain that a little bit, because I think when people say it, they usually say it with a pretty sharp tongue, understandably, because they're hurt that it is something that it was made for them, and all of these people are telling them that it's not valid. So I understand why people say it with a sharp tongue, but I also want to explain for some people that might be getting offended by the phrase, "this isn't for you," without really knowing what it means, and just hearing, like, they say it's not for me, they're saying I'm not allowed to watch it, and that makes me upset. Saying
That's not what that means.
Yes, saying that a piece of media isn't for you just means that you're not included in the audience that they were writing for. Everyone, that's like the first thing you learn in school when you write essays, right? Is write to your audience. Who's your audience? Yes. So for Turning Red, the audience is young Asian girls, young girls going through physical changes, periods, puberty. That means that a cis, straight, white male might not
Grown
identify might not identify or relate to it, and that doesn't make it bad. That just makes it not them not being in the audience for it. Also, you're allowed to enjoy content that you weren't in mind for the audience. You're allowed to enjoy that content. I really liked Encanto. I found things that I related to, even though I am a white third generation American. So I don't know. I just really wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, I get.
And
yeah, I think that's
help people understand it more. Like, it's not people aren't saying it to gatekeep movies.
Yeah.
They're just trying to explain, like, you might not relate to everything, and that's okay. It's not made for you to relate to it.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
representation for a very specific group of people who oftentimes aren't portrayed in media in a genuine way. And this was made for them, so they could watch the movie and be like, "Oh, that's me on the TV." There's so many movies for you, cishet white man, where you
Like,
can look at
this
the TV and see you.
Yeah, like, this is, like, I guess, like, I always come off, like, extra, like, salty through these topics, and I definitely don't mean you shouldn't watch them. I think everyone should watch and enjoy them. Just, for me, my experience growing up was, like, I never really, like, if there was, like, if we were gonna pretend to be, like, literally anything, I just knew, like, I would be the black one or the ethnically ambiguous one, I guess. And then, like, it didn't even really matter what they had going on because no one ever really learned their story. So I was just, like, being me while all my friends were being some weird, cool, magical girl or whatever.
Right.
And, like, I think because we talked about that, not on recording, but we talked about, like, with Steven Universe and, like, how some people, like, talk about, like, the lack of representation there and, like, why it's a problem. And, like, for me, I was, like, I still really like the show. I think it's great. But I was like, I don't know if this still happens anymore. But, like, I was watching it, I was like, man, if I was a kid, I would have been stuck being Bismuth regardless while all my friends were Pearl. And so it's like, that's, like, I think why when people are like, it wasn't for you. It's like, because, like, I watched Friends and Seinfeld and those weren't for me. So, like, why are you so upset? So, like, that's just it. So, like, but I think if we could understand that not that everybody has, like, a right to be angry, but I don't really think it's bad if people are mad. You know what I mean? Like, I think there should still be, like, a conversation there. But I don't think you should just, like, leave something the second your feelings get hurt either. Like, if someone says, like, it's not for you, maybe, like, ask them. And if they're like, Google it, well, then, like, screw that person because they weren't taking the time to talk to you.
Yeah,
but, like,
and, I mean, at the very core, everyone should be open to having a discussion. So
Yeah.
if someone says this isn't for you and you ask them, what do you mean by that? Hopefully they're open enough to have a conversation with you, especially if you're asking in good faith.
right.
Yeah. Maybe don't be like, well, what does that mean? If it's a heated debate, that maybe will land.
I think the other thing too that's crazy because like we, you know, like here and like the people like on our Discord server, by the way, join.
Yeah.
But like the people here, like we're all pretty like open with each other. We just talk and like things don't really get like actually heated. It's more like in a it's fun to argue heated kind of way. So it's pretty still light. So like on one hand, I don't know, like with the reviews for like Turning Red and like Encanto, it really feels like dog whistling for like racism or something.
Yeah.
Because like because we talked about this in Encanto, and like people like one I saw this review for Turning Red, and Kat Black talked about it in more detail, but this review, and this is the one what stands out to me the most, but it was like, Domi, she just made this movie for their friends and nobody else. And I was like, and
Even if she did, why do you give a shit?
Yeah, why does that matter?
Yeah.
But the
So what if
other
this
thing
was her
that-
passion project?
it was weird too, because he was literally complaining about the landmarks, and like I was thinking, and it was so weird because like I was trying to like, I was really like, I told them before we recorded, I really like when I watched the movie, I was like really trying to like put on my white man goggles and see what was happening. But like it's not like the movie starts off like, for American people watching, it's not like she starts off and she's like, this is the Daily Mark where we go to get food, and this is this other Canadian thing that we like too, and this is Canadian. Like he was acting like people like just shoved Canada and this one town of Toronto in down your throat, but it was like, it was just,
just
a
happened
It's just a
Toronto.
setting. We just
Like,
need
it
a
was just-
setting.
They were just in some town. That could have been like Van Nuys for all we care, but like it wasn't that different. So I don't know. It was really weird because, and then also he like, it's again, it's just so weird too because like at bottom it's just some chick who wants to please her parents and her friend.
Yeah. She's just a little 13-year-old who wants to go see her favorite band. How is it, like, you know, you get rid of all of like the Magic Panda stuff. What is so unrelatable about being an awkward teenager that so many people who dislike the movie are apprehensive to? They're like, oh, well, like, I don't relate to this movie. You don't relate to this movie now as a grown person. If you watch this as like a young child, or you remembered what it was like being a young child, you would watch this and be like, oh boy, I sure hate when mom goes through my stuff and reads all my embarrassing, cringy fan fiction I write about my crush.
Yeah, I don't
know, just because you don't relate to something doesn't automatically make it bad.
Yeah, I think that's kind of comes down to a check your privilege kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's
yeah.
like, you're not relating to it, but maybe someone else is, so you need to calm down.
Yeah. Like,
Check, I guess, privilege isn't the right word. Check your own biases.
Yeah.
yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I guess it still works as a check your privilege too, honestly, because like you've been privileged enough to this point that you didn't have to confront your bias.
Yeah, true. Like, there's so much media out there for you, yeah.
Like you're fine.
Go
Meanwhile,
watch The Office. You can relate to that, I guess.
Oh gosh, meanwhile I had a towel on my head to sing along to Sandra D when I was watching Grease at like 5. Oh my gosh. It was like, I don't think it was a towel. I think it was like one of those weird hard blankets they make for babies.
I'm sorry.
Blankets?
What are you
It was like, okay, they're like burping cloth material, but they're blanket size, but it's that material.
Oh,
like they're
interesting.
not. Maybe I
Like
just had those.
Was a changing mat?
No, it's like, well, I guess it's like for swaddling, but
Oh.
like, I don't know. It's just not like, it was not a very warm, inviting texture for me at 5.
At 5.
So
Not a
like,
baby.
Zach, I need you to hunt down what this piece of material was.
I don't think that blanket was
tried
made
to
for
picture
you. You need
Yeah,
to check
like
your
I'll
biases.
check my I'll
This was
check
not
my
made for you,
privilege towards blanket fabric. You see how that works, people, and then you can enjoy Turning Red too.
Yeah.
See, that was a very strategically
Watch Turning
planned
Red
role
now
play.
on Disney Plus.
Oh my gosh!
This was an ad
Okay.
the whole time.
Surprise!
Our
Just
first
kidding. It's not an ad.
sponsor-
This is not an ad.
For
my
legal
God,
reasons,
I
this
was
is not an ad. We're not sponsored.
Yeah.
But like
Although
Disney Plus, if
Domishi, please
you
DM me. I love you.
Yeah, if you would like to give us money to promote something we already like to our 300 subscribers.
Yeah. Damishi,
like,
if you're listening to this,
here.
let's go to Kensington Market and get some tacos and talk, because I like your art.
Oh my gosh.
Now that you're super famous, you're a super famous director and filmmaker, please hang out with me.
Yeah, like this is the time to get in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else we want to talk about with gays, the movie?
Gay rights.
That's it. Gay rights. The end.
Yeah.
Happy Pride.
Yeah. Happy Pride, and get yourself some Pride merch. I think we read this, but in the article it says like they capitalized on Pride with the Rainbow Mickey collection, but they de-emphasized phrases like LGBTQ.
Yeah, they're
Oh
like,
my
oh, it's
gosh.
rainbow, but like not for any reason.
It's just
Don't worry
rainbow.
about it.
Don't worry
Yeah,
about
we
it.
love rainbows. Moms love rainbows.
Rainbow is
Disney adults
very
will eat this up.
70s.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know, maybe this is a hot take, but maybe, like, we should all get together and, like, really start up the alphabet mafia. Mm-hmm. Like,
We need to
I
don't know who said it first, but gays need to be more menacing. Let's give the homophobes something to be scared of.
yeah, like, the right have all their bullies and stuff. Like, we just need some real lefty bullies.
Who's
Who
the
just
gay
like,
equivalents of Ben Shapiro?
well, we'll have to find them. But
Cast your votes below, folks.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like, if Neil Patrick Harris...
2,000 years later.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
Yeah. But so my prediction, and I guess maybe there'll be some writing up here if I'm right, but my prediction is he's gonna just like, I'm gonna get home in the middle of editing and he's like, so why was this a Turning Red video? You talked about it for 5 seconds and then ranted about Bill Maher for an hour. And then I'll be like,
It was on
Okay,
our calendar.
Listen,
So
that's-
we got carried away. Well, that was turning red, kind of.
but it was very gay.
Yeah.
And like, it's
Yeah.
Pride Month. So like, give us
and
a
it's our
break.
channel.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
Why would... That's next Pride Month. We're just gonna talk about the entirety of just gonna review every episode of that shit show, and it's gonna be amazing.
Okay, on that note, thank you guys. Remember, this is available wherever podcasts are available. We have a Discord, please join it. Thank you guys for talking with me about gay stuff, and thank you guys for listening. So remember to comment, like, and subscribe because we all need friends. Okay, bye.
Happy
Bye.
Pride Month.
Yay, gay rights.